Whee! Hi everybody, my name is Tiffany and I'm the Tipsy Artist. And my mission in life is to teach everybody all over the world how to paint. Everybody! Africa, Indonesia, all over the world. Russia, Korea, China, everybody! And today I'm teaching this lovely painting, and I have two sayings while I teach. Every painting is divine with a little wine, and the second one is, there are no mistakes, only possibilities. So whether you're an artist or a beginner, grab your paintbrushes and a glass of wine, and let's get started. You will need the following colors for today's painting: orange and black, yellow, red, yellow ochre, ochre. No.
It's ochre.
Yellow, ochre. Okay, brown, white, and blue. And we have a whole family of brushes that will help us paint. We have Big Daddy, Momma, Little Buddy, and Lil Bit. And of course, a full glass of wine. So I'm going to start with Big Daddy. So I'm going to give him a little bit of a bath here, but I want to make sure and release all the excess water in the brush. So I remove any excess moisture with the towel. And I do that so that when you press on your canvas, water doesn't run down the canvas, it erases paint, so we don't want that to happen. So just make sure that you dry off your brushes every time. I'm going to start by mixing up the colors for the sky, and it's a little bit of an overcast day, so I'm going to start by using Big Daddy. I'm going to pick up a big dollop of white, and I'm going to push it off here to the side, and then I'm going to pick up a big dollop of blue, and I'm going to stir that together using my brush as a spoon, and just stir that right up. Now I want to make a little bit of a gray, so I'm going to pick up another big dollop of white, like that, push that off to the side, and then I'm going to pick up a small corner of black, because a little bit of black goes a very long way, so I'm going to push that in and make my light gray over here to the side. Alright, so I've got lots of colors to work with here because we want lots of variety of shades in the sky. So I've got my light blue, I've got my light gray, I've got my white, and then I even have a little touch of that bright blue that I can push through the sky. So I'm going to go back to my original here, and going 4 inches up, so I'm going to use my ruler, and going 4 inches up on the left, I'm going to make a little dash. I'm going to go 4 inches up on the right and make a dash. And you can make these dashes all the way across. And then using the edge side of the brush, you can just connect those dashes, and then this just gives you a visual guideline of knowing, okay, my sky is going to be all the way down to this line. And I'm going to cover this entire top area of the canvas. So I'm going to push into the blue to start, and I'm going to use the flat side of the brush. A lot of beginners, when they go to paint on the canvas, they hold the brush the wrong way, and they'll start to just push on the canvas, and they're a little too heavy-handed, and they erase the paint off as soon as they start to push it on. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you have enough paint on top of your brush. Don't be scared to put too much paint on there, especially when you're doing very large areas. And then you want to hold the brush on the side, on the flat side of the brush, and then with a very light hand apply the paint on the side. So you can see there's a huge difference. This is very transparent, this is very opaque. This is what we're wanting to accomplish here. Okay, so we're going to be using, again, the flat side of our brush, working this back and forth. So as much as possible, try to use that flat side. And this is becoming too much of one of the same color. So what I want to do is add some variety. So without cleaning the brush, I'm just going to take the same brush I've been using. I'm going to dip into a little bit of pure white, and I'm going to push that in. And I'm going to work that back and forth. And this will give the illusion of clouds. And then because my sky is a little bit overcast, then I'm going to dip into a little bit of this heather gray. And then I'll go back into the blue. And then back into the white. And just work that back and forth. There's a lot of repetition back and forth between that pale blue, that pure white, and then the heather gray. If you want to try a different look that's a little bit more textural, then I suggest a different brush stroke, like making the letter X over and over again. And then I touch in with a little bit of white. And I touch in with a little bit of gray. So you can see this is a very different look. It's very textural. It still represents a sky, but it's a little bit more expressionistic in the style. And so you're welcome to try that as well if you want this look as opposed to this look. I'm going to go ahead and continue on with the same back and forth style that I showed in the beginning because it looks like the model that we have here on the wall. So I'm going to go ahead and smooth this out and just continue this back and forth. And this can be very relaxing, very therapeutic. And then you can take a little break every now and then and get yourself a glass of wine. Yay! Got wet here, and then when I go in with my ground line, so I've got Big Daddy and I've just pushed into nothing but the pure gold paint. So I'm going to push that back and forth, and it's blending beautifully because it's wet on wet. So you do overlap a little bit, you push on a little bit overlapping that blue sky, and you can apply the pressure with a little bit of a heavy hand to really make it go into a soft fade into that skyline. And then I want to add a little bit of heather gray into my gold to add some variety into the color of the earth here. Okay, so that's getting a little gray on me, so I'm going to come back in with more of the gold. When you're doing these nice big large areas, you can have a lot of paint on your brush. So now we've got our ground line finished. This is our earth here, this is our sky. And now we just need to let this set up and dry for about 15 minutes. And then we will come back in with our tree and a really fun, cool pouncing technique for the leaves of the tree and the grass. It's gonna be really fun. See you in 15. Okay, so I gotta get ready for round 2. Ooh, that did not sound good at all.
Excuse me.
Excuse me. Okay. So that was our black paint. And now a more red, a bright yellow, orange, a wee bit of brown. Welcome back. We are going to now paint our tree and all of our beautiful tree leaves and
Accoutrement.
the accoutrement, tree accoutrement. I'm going to use Big Daddy, and the tree is black, actually, just a solid black. You can do a little bit of brown in there if you want, but I think black is actually a little bit stronger, more contrasting. I'm going to press down into the black paint back and forth. That loads both sides of the brush. I apply a little bit of pressure so that I have a nice thin line. Because what I want to do is I want to create lines for the tree first. So now I'm going to completely switch out how I hold the brush. Before I was doing large areas, so I'm using the flat side of the brush. Now I'm doing a line. And so now I switch and hold the brush on the edge, and I create a line that goes down like that. So it's a little bit different. Okay, so we've got the black paint, Big Daddy brush, and I'm going to press down here. And then keep in mind that all trees in nature are very different. And so you can have little nubbies on them. And I'm going to start from the base here, because I'm going to go in the way that a tree would grow, like that. And I'm going to come up here and do this, because I'm going to start to make that skeletal structure of the tree first. And if you want a measurement on this, you can come out, it's about 1.5 inches from the right side of the canvas. And that's where you can start, and then the trunk of the tree is about 3 inches in width. With trees, you just want to make sure that they are wider at the base, and then they become a little bit thinner as they go up towards the top. And then as you start to come out, you'll make some lines that come out towards the side here. And then I'm going to start to make, it's almost like little V's. But you're going to have to connect these in here too. A lot of times what happens when beginners start to make trees, they make blunt edges here. Let me show you what happens. Here's what happens when most beginners start to paint trees. They get to where they fill in the tree and they come up with all of these squared off sections like that. And they look unnatural. So what you have to do is you have to, like here's your V, make a V from there. And you want to fill in those V's. So the main thing is I'm connecting the V's. They're either a little bit rounded or they're pointed, but I connect all of them and I make them very gradual. And I make sure that, again, the thickness occurs closer to the center of the tree, and that anytime you come out, your tree gets thinner as it extends away from the center part of the tree. Just kind of lift off with a light hand. Always getting thinner and lifting off with a light hand as I get farther and farther away from the center of the trunk. And you want to think, as you paint, think about how a tree grows. This is a very common mistake when beginners paint. They will paint in the opposite direction of how the tree grows. So they'll actually, I'm going to show you what not to do here. They'll actually start from here to make a branch. So it's thick and then it gets thin. And that looks very unnatural because that's not how a tree grows. A tree branch will be thicker at the base, and then it will be thinner. So I've got to come back in and correct this a little bit, make it thicker at the base, and then it gets thinner as I get towards the end of the branch. And it's totally fine if you have a little bit of a shaky hand. You're going to love trees, because if you come here and you make a little bump, that even looks very natural, because tree branches have lots of little nubbies and bumps, and they're just very naughty. They've got lots of... Did I just say that out loud? Trees are very naughty. There's not a whole lot more that's needed. We've got the base of the tree done, because we're about to just have a lot of fun. If you thought you had fun with this naughty tree, well, just wait. So Big Daddy's had a bath, now he's dried off, and now we're going to come back in with our red, and I'm going to teach you this really fun pounce effect here. And I'm going to start by going in on the side of the brush, so this is a little different. Make that little pounce effect. It creates these fun little flowers. See how that looks? Very fun. And you want to be very much like the tree. Really try to think about how a tree would really grow. I'm going to go green on you here for a minute.
Be the tree.
Be the tree. And now I'm going to come in at the base because I've got some of this same red flowering effect going on. at the bottom. So I'm going to continue to pounce in here over the bottom of the trunk of the tree. And if I need a little bit more of a depth with that red to cover over the trunk of the tree, I'm going to add in a little bit of the black. I'm going to touch into a little bit of that black and pounce in red and black so that I don't see that harsh line of the tree trunk. If you're starting to lose that fun shape, you might have to rinse out. I'm going to have to rinse out a little bit now because my brush gets too fat and filled with paint and then it loses that nice shape to it. So I rinsed out and now I've got a nice thin brush again, and so now I'm getting that fun shape again. Okay, so I'm using the Momma brush on the side and creating blades of grass that are coming up all over the base of the tree trunk. And I can use a little bit of black in here too. Make those little, that just kind of creates a shadowed effect with those blades of grass. And I think I'm even going to come in with Little Buddy. He's even a smaller size. Remember Little Buddy? His little blades of grass are a little bit more delicate. So as I push up the brown, then it kind of pulls that red along with it, and that's kind of a nice thing that's happening. I've got a nice thick dollop of paint on Little Buddy, and I'm going to actually switch over to the flat side of the brush and just kind of pull up at the base. And I've got a little bit of that gold in there with it too. And then as I get up towards the top here, then I can kind of turn the brush on the side, and those blades of grass get thinner. Alright, I'm going to come back in with more pouncing. I'm going to use the Momma brush. Again, here's Momma. And I'm going to come in with some bright yellow. And on the side again. And this is just more of a fun little highlight. And our red is still very wet, so it creates a nice look because it's just going to blend a little bit naturally with the red that's already there. But you still want some of that really pretty, vibrant yellow to just pop out over the top. Start to lose too much of your vibrant yellow, then rinse out, dry off, and then come back into your vibrant yellow. You'll know if you start to lose your vibrant yellow if it starts to turn too pink. Well, that does it. Congratulations, you are now a Tipsy Artist. Be sure to visit tipsyartist.com for more information and more videos. And remember, every painting is divine with a little more wine. Until next time, I'm the Tipsy Artist. Whee!